right, Cthulhu, we're in. Bro, it didn't work. Dude, why, bro, why isn't it working? Dude, you're the one who gave me the password. What are you? It's not working. It's not. I don't know what you want from me. It's three digits? Oh, all right, we're in. Immersive Sims, what are they? That's actually a good question. I probably should have looked that up before I filmed. Okay, so according to Wikipedia, an immersive sim is a video game genre that emphasizes player choice. Its core defining trait is the use of simulated systems that respond to a variety of player actions, which, combined with a comparatively broad array of player abilities, allow the game to support varied and creative solutions to problems, as well as emergent gameplay beyond what has been explicitly designed by the developer. But does that actually help us? The immersive sim has always kind of been an elusive genre. When you think of immersive sims, you probably think of the big names, right? System Shock 1 and 2, Deus Ex, Thief, Dishonored, Prey, pretty much anything in Arcane's catalog up until Redfall have been immersive sims. These games are touted as huge titles in the genre. But what really makes an immersive sim an immersive sim? And I ask this because there has been a lot of debate I have seen online about a certain game, a really big game that just came out that people have been calling an immersive sim, but I promise we will get back to that. I'm gonna take you back in time because in 1990, Origin Systems released a game known as Ultima Underworld, and this game is considered by many the first immersive sim. Now, Origin may not sound familiar to you if, like me, you're a little baby youngin'. However, in 1992, Origin, after a large business merger, rebranded to Looking Glass Studios. And that might sound familiar to you because Looking Glass was responsible for the granddaddy of all immersive sims. You see, the entire reason I have sat my big, fat, juicy ass in this chair to talk to you about immersive sims is because Night Dive Studios just released their remake of Looking Glass Studios' seminal piece of work. And I have not gotten paid yet. I hopefully will get paid soon, but I haven't been paid yet. So I'm gonna fill that void in my heart by talking to you about a genre of video game that defined my love of the hobby. But actually, okay, hang on. If I'm gonna talk to you about this, I should talk to you about this right. So Dexter, class is in session. After System Shock, Looking Glass went on to pioneer the immersive sim genre with the likes of Thief 1 and Thief 2. But at the time, there were a couple of other names in the ring that are really important to this story. Because in 1997, a little designer by the name of Warren Spector was persuaded by none other than John fucking Romero to join him at a publisher known as Ion Store with the promise that Warren could make his passion project. He could make whatever game he wanted to without the oversight of some evil overlord. Warren Spector did go to Ion Storm and made that game of his dreams. That game? Deus Ex, which along the likes of System Shock is one of the greatest immersive sims ever made. But there is another name. At the same time Warren Spector was leaving Looking Glass to go make Deus Ex, there was another designer by the name of Ken Levine. He moved away from Looking Glass to found his own studio known as Irrational Games. Irrational Games' first project? Oh, you know, it was just a little thing that they worked on with Looking Glass Studios called System Shock 2. So with these defining pioneers of the immersive sim genre, you're probably thinking, well, all of those games are pretty similar. They're pretty easy to box and categorize. They're all first-person stealth action science fiction role-playing games. That is very easy to categorize as an immersive sim. And before any of you get on my ass with like well, actually, technically, Thief is, it's actually a fantasy game. No, Thief is steampunk. And do you know what steampunk is? Steampunk is sci-fi. Steampunk is sci-fi. That's my hot take of the week. Thief is sci-fi because it's steampunk and steampunk is sci-fi. But even with that loose definition of what an immersive sim could potentially be, someone in that group of legends went on to fuck up that definition for everybody. In 2007, Ken Levine and Irrational Games whipped out their dick, dropped it on the table, and gave us BioShock, considered by many to be one of the biggest and well-known video games in the history of video games. BioShock is considered to be the spiritual successor to Ken Levine's first game at Irrational Studios, System Shock 2, and with this looming title of spiritual successor to System Shock 2 comes the extremely controversial idea that BioShock is an immersive sim. But why? BioShock is first person, yeah, sure, but what else is there? The game is fairly linear in design, but it also gives you a wide variety of tools in order to overcome the challenges it gives you. Its gameplay consists entirely of over-the-top action, but the tools and the gear that it gives you lets you create these massive, wild-ass set pieces by jumping between all these weapons and combos and things. It has hacking, it doesn't really have stealth, but its defining trait is that the use of simulated systems that respond to a variety of player actions, which combined with a comparatively broad array of player abilities allow the game to support varied and creative solution problems as well as emergent gameplay beyond what was explicitly designed by the developer. Oh. Okay, I see the problem. Okay, well, so I don't personally consider BioShock an immersive sim, but I can understand those that do. Is BioShock Infinite an immersive sim just because it's a BioShock game? Because when you think about it, the first BioShock gave the protagonist a wide array of weapons and elixirs and tools at their disposal that could help them overcome the challenges, while in Infinite, Booker can only carry 2 guns and 2 vigors at any time, which basically cuts out the entire idea of this massive arsenal of weapons, and the only way to solve most problems is to shoot your way through it. But that's also the case for BioShock. Shit. Wait, hang on. So wait, if BioShock is considered an immersive sim, does that mean that like Half-Life or Half-Life 2 are considered immersive sims? Because they also have simulated systems and a broad array of player abilities to help solve the challenges placed before you, but no. I've never heard anyone call Half-Life or Half-Life 2 an immersive sim, but people call BioShock an immersive sim? BioShock and Half-Life hold so many similarities. They pushed forward this idea of immersive first-person action combat and first-person storytelling and narrative. They have these massive array of weapons and simulations, but no, that doesn't... Half-Life isn't an immersive sim. So is BioShock only called an immersive sim because it's made by Ken Levine? Is it because the game is in first person? Don't tell me the only reason BioShock is considered an immersive sim is because there's a wrench and 451, right? There's gotta be more to it than that. So then that leaves me scratching my head, what is an immersive sim? And I guess that's the point of today's video? Genre and what makes it? You see, genre is silly. Genres are hard to define. Really, something is only in a specific genre because people all kind of collectively agree that something belongs in that genre. And trust me, this idea extends far beyond video games. Now You See Me has an incredible video essay on the Napoleon Dynamite effect. Essentially what happened when Napoleon Dynamite was moved to streaming services is that it completely broke recommendation algorithms because no one could define what the fuck Napoleon Dynamite was. It was such a divisive film. Is it a comedy? Is it a drama? Is it absurdist? Is it mundane? Is it like, what is the movie? Does it even have a plot? It was such a weird thing. Please go check out that video essay. It is fantastic. And this same issue arises in every genre of everything. Like, take horror, for example. Can Army of Darkness no longer be called a horror movie because it's funny? Because that movie is hilarious. I mean, fuck, can Evil Dead 2 be called a horror movie? Because it is also hilarious, but Evil Dead 2 is extremely gory. Does that make it a horror movie? Well, that's not right, because gore doesn't define horror. The Blair Witch Project is considered one of the greatest pieces of contemporary horror, and that movie doesn't even have a touch of gore. Can two contradictory genres exist simultaneously? Like, can horror comedy exist? And if it does, and we just say that horror comedy exists as its own genre separate of both horror and comedy, well, fuck, how do we define horror comedy? Do the traditional elements of horror contradict those of comedy? Do those of comedy contradict those of horror? Is it a horror movie with laughs? Is it a comedy with spooks? I mean, what is it? Do you see how quickly this can spiral out of control? And because of the fact that immersive sims are so ambiguous in their definition that it's almost impossible to categorize really what is or isn't an immersive sim. Do immersive sims have to be first person? Well, many people would argue they do because that's part of the immersion aspect, but also tons of people would argue that the new IO HITMAN trilogy is an immersive sim, and those aren't first person. But those games give you a wide array of tools and multiple ways to overcome the challenges that are presented to you. In many ways, there is an emergent gameplay system inherent to the IO Hitman games. So to circle back to what I wanted to bring up at the beginning, recently my favorite game reviewer on the internet, SkillUp, put out his review for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and you probably already know where I'm going with this because of, the topic of the whole video, but in that video, he called Zelda Tears of the Kingdom an immersive sim. Dexter, please roll the clip.
At the top of this section, I said that Tears of the Kingdom is an immersive sim. I know not everyone will agree with that categorization, arguing that there are a bunch of preconditions to that label that Tears of the Kingdom doesn't meet. For me personally, the defining characteristic of an immersive sim is not its perspective or its setting or whatever, it's the existence of a world built on a rule set that is consistent and flexible enough that it invites a variety of approaches to problem solving, while also giving the player a range of tools broad enough to be able to engage that world through the lens of logic and creativity, rather than through singular solutions or rote learning. That is the founding principle on which the immersive sim was built with the likes of Deus Ex, and there is no single video game I have ever played where I have felt like I've had more freedom to fight, explore, and solve puzzles however I chose to than Tears of the Kingdom.
So, is Zelda an immersive sim now? Has Zelda always been an immersive sim? Does any of this matter? No, but also kinda yes. Genre is how we categorize the things we make, so it only exists as we define it. But then, also so does literally anything. Money, laws, gender, all of it is kind of just how we say it is. So here's how I have been defining immersive sims as of recently. If the developer says that they're making an immersive sim, and the community takes that game and agrees, that's an immersive sim. That's it. I'm not thinking too hard about it. I'm just trying to play fun games. And the fact that I have sat here for the past 2 weeks really trying to piece together what is the definitive defining traits of an immersive sim, and it's kind of up in the air, it doesn't matter. Whatever, if you say it's an immersive sim, it's an immersive sim, right? At the end of the day, it's really not that important. Games are just kind of fun. But I am very, very interested to hear what you guys have to say about this, because these games have been some of my favorite games in the history of all of video games. Prey 17 is a masterpiece of a game, and I just kind of want to know what you guys think. Do you like immersive sims? How do you define immersive sims? Do immersive sims even have a genre? Are they just this looming title that can kind of go on a variety of different games? I don't know. I'm interested to hear what you guys think, but oh, hang on. Oh, shit. Oh, hang on. I'm about to get paid in 5, 4, 3, 2. Fuck you guys. I'm off to Citadel Station. Peace.